Excuse me, could you point me in the direction of ScreamCity? Never mind, I think I found it.
Hello, horror freaks. Welcome back to ScreamCity. I'm your host, Jessica.
And I'm Monica, and today we are talking all about the 2022 movie Barbarian.
Yes, but before we continue on with the movie itself, let's start with our peak and pit. So, Monica, what has been your peak and pit of these past few days?
So, I have a pretty neat pick.
Okay.
I mean, not pit, peak.
Okay.
My boyfriend and I have recently started watching movies that neither of us have seen.
Okay.
And so since he has Shudder, and I'm a horror girly,
Right.
we've decided to kind of pick up on horror movies that neither of us have really watched. And I watched, which I want to recommend both to you. The first one is I See You on Netflix. It's like a 2019 film. That movie it's a psychological thriller, so you'll probably be a little like frazzled, but it's really good. This movie triggered my trust issues.
Okay.
So when I thought it was going one way, it was going the complete opposite, and I was very like, what the fuck is going on? Overall, really good movie. And then the other one, we watched one last night. It was a Spanish movie. I forgot what it was called, but one of the scenes in this movie, it looks like Smile sort of maybe remade the scene. And it's like such, it's not an identical scene, but you can like tell that it was like an obvious pick, like, oh, I like that scene, I'm gonna recreate that. And it was really cool to see. So I love being able to dive into new movies that I've never seen before, especially in the horror genre, because there are so many movies that have gone unseen by my eyes.
Yeah.
And and unexperienced.
We have to fix that.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm very thankful for an app like Shudder.
Okay.
For giving me that. So
shout out Shudder.
Peak. Yes, shout out to Shudder. So peak is that I'm kind of diving into new movies again, which has been kind of difficult for a time. But my pit is that I'm in a reading slump. So I do also love reading, and I haven't been able to pick up and dive into a book like I normally would love to. So that kind of sucks.
Gotcha.
But
I've been in a reading slump for like 2 years.
Yeah, right. Right. Mine's been more of a few months.
Okay.
But I can definitely see how that can last for so long.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, what about you?
I'll start off with my pit. My pit is that I'm back in home.
Back home. Oh, that's
back
right.
Home,
yes.
After my trip, I really enjoyed my trip. The date of the flight was a shit show.
Oh no,
it was a shit show.
To or from?
Huh?
To or from?
Back home.
Oh, to come back home.
Yeah. So Seattle to back home was just.
Everything that could go wrong went
Everything
wrong.
that could go wrong went wrong.
Yeah, of course.
But anyway, my peak is that I was able to go to Seattle.
I was actually able to go to Seattle.
That I went back to Seattle, one of my favorite cities. And another peak is that I am soon going to be starting a new position at work, which is a position that I have been wanting to do for a really long time. So I'm super happy about that.
Yes.
So yeah, that's
all right. Okay. So let's finally get into this movie. So like we mentioned in every episode, there will be spoilers. So don't say that we didn't warn you. This movie has been out for a year. It's on HBO Max. If you guys have HBO Max, go ahead and watch it. But to give a brief synopsis, this is coming straight from Google. A young woman discovers the rental home she booked is already occupied by a stranger. Against her better judgment, she decides to spend the night, but soon discovers there's a lot more to fear than just an unexpected house guest.
Yeah.
Period. So,
This movie.
It was a movie.
This movie was a movie.
This movie was a movie. Mm-hmm.
But now that we have that synopsis out of the way, Monica, what was your first impression watching this film for the first time, and what would you say is your favorite scene and kill?
So I remember watching this movie because it was a year ago when I watched it for the first time. But I remember leaving the theater so mind blown. I watched it with Mateo, and the theater was almost empty. So there was like maybe 2 or 3 other groups there at the same time. And I feel like a movie is good if even the theater is not full and you can still hear other people's reactions. So that was a lot of fun to experience. we've said this before, and I'm going to say it again, that we love the trailer to this movie because this trailer gave nothing away to what this movie even is
yes,
about.
Queen, give us nothing.
Yeah, yes, Queen, give us nothing. Give us minimal and 30%.
Which I appreciate. I genuinely
that's
do
what I'm
appreciate.
saying. I was like, that's why we love the trailer to this movie.
Yeah.
Because the trailer did what it needed to get my attention. It gave me eerie. It gave me spooky. It gave me Bill Skarsgård. It gave me... Was Justin Long even in the trailer?
I don't remember.
I don't remember either.
But I have a story about Justin Long.
Okay, well, that's the thing. So it gave me the things that I was curious, and it gave me curiosity. It gave me the want to be like, all right, I want to see what's up with this movie. And when I watched it, I remember feeling on the edge of my seat for a lot of it and attempting to predict the whole thing. I will also say that when I left the theater, I thought my experience was like an hour and 20 minutes, but that movie's like 2 hours long.
Yeah.
I did not feel like I was in that theater for 2 hours. So my favorite scene, I do have two. The first one being where AJ is measuring the basement. Also, can I say that Justin Long plays like the perfect douchebag?
Yeah.
Like he's...
In every movie, dude.
I was going to say, I feel like in the movies where he has parts where he plays like an asshole, he plays it a little too well.
Yeah.
Okay. Right.
No, well, now that you're on that scene, because I chose a different scene, again, I don't know if you were going to mention it, but when he's like measuring the things while there's a literal like empty room with a random bed on it.
Yeah, well, that's what I mean. Like, he's measuring the entirety of the basement, or like not just the basement, but like the fucking, I guess, cave or tunnels that he finds. It is so funny because I'm like, this man is not even questioning. He's just like, that just means more space. And then like it cuts to him Googling like how, like, can you consider all of this square footage?
Yeah.
And then they're like, no, not unless you like remodel it or include it in like whatever. And I think it's just the funniest thing. And I also love it because of his douche bag of a character, like he also brings some comedic relief to this movie. Another one that kind of just goes with it is I also love the boob scene where the mother has Justin Long in her arms and she wants to breastfeed him, but before then she's treating him like a baby, and then she like boops him on the nose. It is like the ugliest thing. But anyway, my favorite scene is basically the entire opening scene when it's just Bill Skarsgård and Georgina Campbell. I loved it because it was making me believe that I knew what I was watching just to be so thrown off. And which brings me to my favorite kill. There was quite a few good kills in this one because I also love the way the homeless man dies.
Yes.
That one is so funny because she literally kills him with his own arm.
Yeah.
And this movie is, if it's not one thing, it's definitely gruesome. So if you haven't seen Barbarian before, just kind of expect a lot of grotesque, gore, and we love it. But I loved Keith's kill, which is Bill Skarsgård's character. It caught me off guard, and it was so gruesome. And then when I sat with that death for a little bit, I felt so sad because I was going so against him the entire first part of the scene because they make him act in such an awkward way that it's like, am I supposed to believe that he's like a kidnapper? Or like, I was thinking that he was just some creep who was trying to kidnap Tess and just get her guard down to, I don't know, murder her or, anything. But it just turns out he was just a really genuine awkward guy that was genuinely trying to make her feel comfortable, or at least, that's what we know of. And I just love how that scene, which was the first like 30 minutes of the movie, is how it sets the pace for the movie. And I thought it was like really, really good. And when Tess finds him like in the tunnel and he's like so scared and he's like, someone bit me, and like I still in my head I was like, nah, you're faking that shit.
Oh, 100%.
I was like, you are faking. I don't believe you. I was like, we have
trust issues because I
have trust issues 100%. But then the mother comes out and then she like slams his head against the his head against the fucking wall, and that was pretty gruesome because she did it quite a few times. So R.I.P. to Keith's face. Yeah, I don't know. It's great. I love this movie. It's a good one. What about you?
So, first impression, this movie left me puzzled.
Puzzled?
It left me puzzled in a way because, listen, I did enjoy this film, and I don't have too many bad things to say about this movie, like, at all. I watched this with my sister when it first came out, and yes, just like everyone and their mom, I did think Keith was the bad guy at first, because number one, he's a man. Mm-hmm. Number two, he's a white man. Mm-hmm. But me personally, if that man opened the door, I too would have stayed.
Oh, 100%. He would have been like, you want to say less?
You everything that you needed to say, you said it with your face.
Yes, ma'am.
But yeah, no, overall...
I will say, the second time that I watched this movie, I was watching it knowing that Keith isn't a bad guy. And I'm like, I thought he played the role of a really awkward guy really well.
I agree. Yeah, and it's interesting to see him in a different, like, as like a different character. Because,
yeah.
I mean, I personally only really know him from It, which, I mean, you don't really...
As a serial clown.
Yeah, you don't really see him. But, yeah. My favorite scene, though, I think it's got to be the plot twist in the middle of the movie. At first, I thought was the end. I did think, for some reason, I thought...
The movie ended after Keith's death?
The movie ended after Keith died. And I was like, no, like, that doesn't sound... Like, that doesn't seem real.
That doesn't sound right.
Yeah. Somewhere in me, I knew that it couldn't have been the end, right? Because to me, that felt like it was 2 hours.
It did. Like, the first, 30 minutes felt so long. Felt like a full hour. So, which is why, but then and then they cut to the scene with, Justin Long driving. I'm like, is that Justin Long? I was like, oh, he did.
Yeah. No, and 100%. Because one thing about Justin Long, he's never going to make it out.
He's never going to survive. All right, guys. If you put my man in a horror movie, he ain't going to make it out. And I love that he knows what he's signing up for.
Yeah.
Because there's just no way.
He's just so good at dying in horror movies.
He's just so good at dying in horror movies. There's just something so satisfying about it.
But yeah, after Keith dies and the screen goes black for a second, and then the next scene is, like you said, AJ driving, I was like, what?
What is going on?
I literally looked to my sister and I was like...
What happened to Bill Skarsgård?
I'm so confused.
Yeah.
No, literally for a second I was like, wait, is this even the same movie?
Like, where are we going?
I kid you not. And I think that's the beauty of not watching trailers.
Yes.
Because I did watch the first trailer.
Well, that's what I mean.
One time.
Like, the trailer only gives you the first 30 minutes of the movie. There's an entire hour and a half left of this movie where you're so blind to, so you don't know what to expect.
Yeah. And my sister was just like, oh, the movie's just now getting started. I'm like, huh?
Now what?
What do you mean? So, yeah, my favorite scene is definitely... right after Keith's death, and then cut to AJ. Mm-hmm. I was just like, excuse me?
Right.
But yeah, I gotta give them to that. I gotta give that to them.
Love.
Favorite kill. Keith's kill did catch me off guard, I will say. Mm-hmm. But may I just say, which I know we mentioned this already, that man was acting sus.
Oh, that's what I mean. Like, I couldn't tell if the awkwardness was because he was suspicious of doing things, or if it was, again, just because he's such an awkward guy.
Right.
Or at least that's how he was acting as. I was just very confused, but he does play a sus guy.
100%.
Very well. Very well.
A little too well.
Right.
But, yes, he was acting sus. And, he didn't end up being the bad guy.
Right.
But, Tess, why would you follow a stranger down a scary-ass basement?
Well...
I know she was scared herself. Totally
understood. Well, because she went first, and then... Oh, I see what you mean.
Yeah.
I guess because she was genuinely concerned about, what's...
Personally, me, I would have dipped.
I would have been like, you can go check out the basement. I already checked it out. I know what's in there. I didn't like it. I'm leaving.
Yeah.
You are more than welcome to go down there and check for yourself.
But I guess that's just the beauty of horror.
Not only that. So whenever we were rewatching it again, the scene where she meets him in the tunnel, and so where he's like, someone bit me. He's rattled.
Mm-hmm.
That man is petrified. Whatever he saw, it was it for him. And he had said something like, oh my God, there's someone else here. Shh, you have to be quiet. And then she's over here like, what do you mean? And I'm like, I hate a bitch who don't know how to be quiet. And then at the end of the dialogue, they both end up yelling at each other.
Yeah.
And then she ends up finding them. And then she ends up killing him. But I'm like, shut the fuck up.
I know. I will say my favorite death, though, has got to be AJ's.
AJ's is good.
Because it was just so satisfying.
I love
because that man
AJ's.
was so annoying.
Oh, 100%.
He was so annoying. He pushed my homegirl Tess down the tower.
He was like, you're going to have to distract her. Push.
Mm-hmm.
And then the way she fought, I'm sorry, but then the way the mother dives
Oh my
after
God.
her, first of all, scary. Second of
As
all,
hell.
if you look at it in slow-mo, terrifying. It is the funniest shit ever. Because she's like, it's like funny.
It's nasty.
It's nasty. But anyway,
But yeah, my favorite kill is AJ's.
AJ's is so funny.
Because it was funny. And it was also satisfying. And it was
100%.
also like gory in a way.
100%
Yeah.
gory. She sticks her thumbs in his
Yeah.
eyes.
Yeah.
Awful.
That
But
man.
I love it.
I love it.
I love it.
That
Because
man.
to be fair, what he was accused of in the movie, well deserved.
100%.
Well deserved. We love, say it again, we love a satisfying revenge kill.
100%.
This movie was a movie.
This movie was a movie.
This movie was a movie, and I enjoyed, honestly, every second of this. I don't think there was a minute where I was bored. I think this was one of the movies that I still left with that I was like, I thought I could predict everything. I was wrong. Until I got more context, and then I was like, oh, okay.
I feel like I was still wrong.
But even then, well, that's what I mean. But even then, like, even the after part, then I was like, oh, that's why she's the way she is,
Yeah.
first of all. But my thing is, I also love the way the street looked. Because you don't see what the street looks like until she goes for her interview. Until, like, it's daylight. So at nighttime, you see nothing. Bill Skarsgård sort of gives, like, an impression of, like, hey, that street's pretty bad out there. I wouldn't want you to even sleep in your car out there.
Right.
And then so she was like, whatever. Because she can't see what the other houses look like. The other houses are demolished.
Yeah.
They look like actual crackhead houses. I thought that was kind of cool, too. The fact that this movie gives you a lot without giving you anything.
Yeah.
In a lot of little pieces, if that makes sense.
I liked how, like, yes, we got that flashback from, what was it? Was it like the 60s?
It was like the 60s, I think.
Maybe 70s, something like that.
I think it was like 60s, 70s.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I liked that we got that flashback because we got the before and the after of that neighborhood. And it's it's crazy to see how things
How much time
can change.
Yeah. How much
ruin
something.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think because I like the part where Tess ends up escaping and then the homeless man ends up taking her in and it's like, yeah, you know, you got to do this, that. And then Justin Long ends up escaping and then they both go into like the homeless man's cave. And then Justin Long asks him, well, aren't you afraid that she's going to come in here? And he's like, nah, I've been living here for 15 years and she ain't never come up once. And then she like demolishes like or she crashes in through the wall, cement at that. Okay. The cement wall. And then she kills the homeless man by ripping his arm off and then beating him with his arm.
Yeah.
To the point where he dies. Imagine getting beat by one of your own organs. That's unfortunate. But anyway, I think we can move on to the cast now.
Yeah. So getting into the cast a little bit, we have quite a few very cool people in this movie. And just to name basically the
main characters, sort of.
Yeah, the main characters. We've got Bill Skarsgård, Justin Long, Georgina Campbell, Matthew Patrick Davis, who played the mother, and just a bunch of other great names working behind the scenes. So it was really cool to see some, what I now consider some OG horror names in this film.
I feel like, to me, if you can act really, if you can convince me that you're in a true panic in a horror film, I think you did great. I also, there's just something about Justin Long's like panic, because he does a lot of like
his face, I think, is just built for panic.
There's a scene where Justin Long is in the tunnel and he has a flashlight and he's like flickering it on and off because it keeps dying. And just every time that the light flashes, she gets like, the mother's at the end of the tunnel and she gets closer and closer until eventually she catches up to him, and it's like awful and it's very scary. But Matthew Patrick Davis, I did not know. See, I thought for a while that the mother was CGI, but no, it is. She is played by Matthew Patrick Davis, who is in costume, and I think is terrifying and disgusting in the best way.
Absolutely.
And I thought it was really great. Zach Kreger, who is the writer and the director of this movie, he was in the movie.
Really?
He played Everett, which I was trying to remember who that was. But I think he plays the guy that Justin Long meets at the bar.
Oh.
I think that's him. Because I looked up, because when I was rewatching the movie, I was trying to pinpoint. We don't see his face though, so I think maybe that's like the biggest thing. But he plays Everett, whoever.
I know Sarah Paxton is also on the cast list, I think, under Megan.
I think Megan is the one who's on the phone.
Okay.
I think she plays.
I
like
not remember.
I think Megan is the Airbnb booker.
Okay.
Like who accidentally booked them both, which is so funny because I'm like, you would think that we would remember such a face, right, of like Sarah Paxton, but no, I think she's like a behind the scenes girly.
Gotcha.
So that's good. Yeah. We love to see it. We love a good cast. Everyone did act their butts off in this, especially the mother.
Oh, 100%.
Because I really did think she was CGI for a while.
Yeah.
So.
But getting into some fun facts. Again, we are pulling this from IMDb. The first one that I found, which I thought was very interesting, and now that we're kind of on the topic of Justin Long. So Zach Greger originally offered the role of AJ. I want you to guess to who.
Oh, God. Is he known? Like known?
He's known. I don't think you're going to get it.
Okay.
Because
I don't think you're going to get it, but I want you to guess.
Because he's not, like, you don't see him in horror.
Oh.
Maybe in, like...
Well, to be fair, AJ's character is more of a comedic relief to this movie, so there's not a lot of...
I still don't really see him kind of... I mean, I guess I do
older or younger?
He's older than us, but we know him from our childhood.
Oh, God. I feel like... Is it someone like Tom Hanks?
No.
Oh, okay. Someone a little bit
younger
less?
Than Tom Hanks.
Bigger?
Younger than Tom Hanks.
Younger. Oh,
he's from our childhood. He's not that older than us. He's probably our sister's age.
Oh. I don't know why. I don't know why my brain thought of Michael B. Jordan.
Okay. No.
Okay.
No.
All right. Well, those are my two guesses.
Okay,
and they were...
Tom Hanks and Michael B. Jordan.
But get this. It was actually
Zac Efron.
Oh, Zac Efron.
Yeah. But Efron turned it down, causing Kreger to rethink the role.
That would have been really cool.
Offer it to Justin Long, who accepted it.
No, I think
Justin Long slayed.
Yeah, I was gonna say no. I don't think anybody would have done better than Justin Long.
Justin Long was fit for the role. I would have never thought of anyone but Justin Long for that role.
No, I think he plays the perfect in between of whenever he plays a character in a comedy role and in a horror film, and I think he did justice to like all of the roles that he's ever played in any movies into one.
100%.
And I love him. Justin Long, we love you.
We love you, Justin Long.
Heart.
Second fact that we have here is the film is set on 476 Barbary Street.
Yeah.
The year 476 was when the Barbarians invaded Rome. Oh. Director Kreger insists this is unintentional and purely coincidental.
Interesting.
Yeah. While the exterior neighborhood shots were filmed in the Brightmoor neighborhood of Detroit, the rest of the film was shot in Sofia, Bulgaria.
Whoa.
Isn't that so random?
What the hell?
That's pretty cool.
Well, I mean, I was going to say, how do you find tunnels? I mean, I
don't doubt that.
I was going to say, I'm assuming you build them the way you build any other set.
The title of the movie is written only using the letters from Airbnb, a nod to the story's main setting in addition to its primary meaning.
Wait, what?
The title of the movie, Barbarian, is written only using the letters from Airbnb, the word Airbnb.
Airbnb?
Yeah.
Oh, like Airbnb spells barbarian?
Yeah.
If you flip around the letters?
If you use those same letters.
Holy fuck, I did not know that.
I didn't know that either.
That is funny. Okay.
Yeah, that's really cool. And sure enough, you were right. It says Zach Greger makes an appearance as AJ's friend, who he meets at a club, joyfully confesses his crimes to.
I love to see it. We love when directors make cameos in their movies.
I loved this scene so much.
Okay.
But, I mean, this one's definitely, it's for real. But
it real.
Says, at one point, Keith says, "Do I look like some kind of monster?" Bill Skarsgård is best known for playing the monster clown Pennywise in 2017 and 2019.
100%.
I remember I looked at my sister when he said that. I was like, I get it.
LOL, because he is literally a monster, or he's played a monster.
Now, moving along with the episode a little bit more, I think it's time to play a little Would You Rather? Yeah! So, based on this film, would you rather have to fight off a human kidnapper, which Monica says she kind of got the idea from Keith's character.
For when I thought Keith was
when
a
we
kidnapper.
thought Keith
and
was
a
an actual
psycho.
kidnapper, or fight off an inbred monster, aka the mother.
To be fair, okay, listen, hear me out. I think you can escape either situation
Okay.
with almost the same tactics, right? Of being sneaky, giving into some things, manipulate your attacker or your kidnapper, whichever one, right? But I don't know. The mother is really strong.
The mother, hell no. I'd rather fight off a human kidnapper.
You'd rather fight off a human kidnapper?
Especially if he looked like Bill Skarsgård.
That's... You would have, what is it? Sherlock Holmes syndrome?
Stockholm Syndrome. Sherlock Holmes?
Sherlock Holmes syndrome.
Sherlock Holmes Syndrome.
Yes, ma'am.
I sure would have Stockholm Syndrome.
Yes.
But
I wouldn't even have to fight off anyone.
No. But yeah, no, 100%.
See, okay, so this is where my, my God complex likes to kick in and think that I could survive and I could fight off someone like the mother. But I am also small.
You are.
So.
She would quite literally.
Stomp me.
Number one, but number two, she would make you her baby.
An actual baby. Like, she would put me in a onesie.
Yeah.
And
she would have you suck on her bitty.
On her little bitty.
Mm-hmm.
You're so right. And I don't think that I could see, but that's the thing. Like, if I give in to a few of these things, little by little, I can start creating a plan for my escape.
Would you really start creating a plan, or would you also have Stockholm Syndrome?
I would have Sherlock Holmes syndrome. There's just something about being cared for.
Yeah, that's so true. Mommy issues, girl.
Mommy issues kicking in right there. No, I think you're right. I think I would fight off a human. I think I would fight off a human kidnapper.
Yeah.
I can easily break a leg.
Yeah.
I was talking to my friend the other day, and I've asked her, like, because she seems like such a hard girl. Mm-hmm. And so I'm like, how many fights have you been in? She's like, I've been in quite a few. Whatever. Point is, she was like, one thing I would never do is fight a crackhead. And I really do feel that inbred mother, crackhead, same level. She's like, because you can easily knock out a crackhead, break a bone, and they'll still find a way to manage to get up. 100%. And I'm like, you're so right. I'm like, so, okay. So that kind of, I think I can break at least a leg for a kidnapper and then it'd slow him down.
Yeah.
100%.
Okay.
So fighting off a human kidnapper.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, no inbred mothers. Thank you.
Nope.
But now, before we end our episode, we do have to rate this movie. Now, this is a horror movie, so we will be rating this movie with both of our scales, our satisfactory scale and our scary scale. Just because a movie is good does not always mean it's scary. So, Jessica, what do you rate this movie with both of your scales?
So, scary scale, I'm going to have to give it a good 8.5 out of 10.
It scared the fuck out of me,
It was gory. The jump scares were good. Psychological wise, it was also really good.
Oh, 100%.
It was just overall a very eerie, disturbing movie. So yeah, 8.5 out of 10 for me. Scary scale.
Scary.
Satisfactory, 9 out of 10. Again, no real big complaints. It was, again, a really good movie. I will definitely watch it again. It's just not necessarily like my top 5 or top 10.
Okay.
But it is a good movie. I will watch it again. So I'm giving it a 9 out of 10 for satisfactory.
Okay. All right. So my scary scale, also an 8 out of 10. I did leave the theater and come home thinking I would see Mother chase me down my hallway.
Yes, ma'am. Don't you just love that, though? Like,
I
after
love
you
it and
watch
I
a
hate
movie,
it. The fucking movie that I watched last night, of the Spanish movie that I watched, there's a monster in this movie that the concept of the monster is you can only see it if you have your back turned towards it. So if you face it like head on, you can't see it. You can only see it from your peripheral vision, or you can see it from behind you.
What the hell?
When I tell you I was so scared to sleep with my back against my bathroom door, terrified. So when movies do shit like this, where they make me afraid of the dark for a few hours, they did the job. They knew the assignment. They got an A+.
That was me, and I don't remember if I mentioned this, but that was me when we were watching Scream 6. I had to make a little potty stop in between the movie, unfortunately, and I hate to do that.
Right.
But I had to go.
Girl, you should have just peed your pants.
Honestly, at this point.
It was Ghostface.
But anyway, I walk into the restroom, and it was empty. And I was like, you know what? This is it. This is it.
This is where I die. I die at a movie theater restroom.
Yes. And like, hey, that's a way to go, you know, especially if it's Ghostface.
That's true. At a movie theater.
At a movie theater. But I was surely shit in my pants because...
And that's what I mean. Like, a movie did its job when me as a horror freak, me as someone who religiously loves to watch horror movies, if I leave spooked, you did your job.
You did your job.
And Barbarian did exactly that for me. Ma'am. I think just the things that kind of knock off a couple of points is the comedic relief in this movie because, man, did they do such a good job. It was like it was a really good way to help, again, with that relief of being like, I'm so scared, and then being like, that was so funny.
Yeah.
So, loved it. Loved every minute of it.
I think they had a good mix of both.
100%.
Scary and comedic.
100%. It was great. Now, for my satisfactory scale, I will say I personally don't have any complaints about this movie at all. I'm giving this a 10 out of 10. Okay. I think this is a good rewatch for me. I would love to introduce this film to other people who have never seen it before. I think the plot twist, I think the psychological part of this film was really good. Again, I love how there was a heavy insinuation of basically abuse and kidnapping and, you know, kind of that sort, but it was never actually shown.
Yes, I always appreciate that in a movie.
Especially in the scene where Justin Long comes into contact with Frank in the cave, where he's like on his deathbed and he ends up unaliving himself in front of him, but he ends up watching the tapes that get partaken in that one room, and it's terrifying and it's scary and it's creepy. That's also something that I love about this film. I love this film so much. I think it does everything. It has shock, it has creepy, it has spook, it has curiosity, and it has funny, and I loved it. I loved this movie from beginning to end. So
well, I think we're getting close to the end. Thanks again to everyone listening. And if you're a new horror freak joining us for the first time, welcome. And we hope you enjoyed this episode. And again, feel free to follow us on social media. We will have everything linked in the description of the episode.
Yeah, and like Jess says, thank you for tuning in and listening to us. We cannot stress enough how much we appreciate your support. So, in return for us to show some appreciation towards you guys, we would like to announce our first giveaway. Now, we don't have all of the details just yet, but it will be coming in about 2 weeks from today's episode. So we just wanted to let you guys know because we have officially made it over 100 followers on Instagram, which, believe it or not, took a while.
Yeah.
But that's okay. And then we are now a little bit over on 6K on TikTok. And that is honestly just so insane to think about. So we will be posting some more information on that when we get the chance, but we just really wanted to say a really big thank you to those who are starting to get to know us and those of you who are staying and engaging with us and honestly just love horror as much as we do, because I think, finding a horror community is unfortunately a little bit harder, but I think once you find them, you connect really well. And we're so glad that we're able to do that with you guys. So just wanted to put that out there. Now, if you like today's episode, make sure you tune in to next week's episode where we talk about X. X, loved it. Loved X. I'm going to save my thoughts and prayers for that movie.
100%.
For next
but X
episode.
was also a movie, and
X was also a movie.
I didn't know what I was going to get myself into until I was already there.
Yep. I remember.
An experience watching it.
It is an experience for sure.
Yeah.
All right. Alrighty.
Yeah. Well, I think that concludes this episode. Again, huge thank you to everyone listening and for supporting us.
Yes.
But with that being said, we've been your hosts, Jessica
and Monica.
Stay safe and stay spooky.
Oof, that was scary. I can't wait to come back next week.